get going. Let me start with let me take you back a few years earlier to India. It was 11th November 2010. India woke up to a shock. It was a major shock, confusion all around. What was happening? This is what was flashing the newspapers across the country. People started trying to figure out what this number is. The number of zeros, which says it is loss to the country, loss of money to the nation. Can someone count the zeros and tell me how much is this amount? Other than my colleagues from India who have been looking at this number for very long. Quite a challenge, isn't it? It's 176 trillion Indian rupees lost. 28 billion US dollar lost by the government because of the government. And that's what the Auditor General of India told the Parliament when he presented his report. His report was a performance audit on the way licenses to private telecom operators, the companies which run cell phones, licenses to use the spectrum were awarded to the private operators. And how did they do that? No bidding, no competition. Simple first come first serve basis was adopted by the government. That's what the Auditor General said. And on the top of it, procedures were flouted, ad hoc decisions were made, and eventually an assessed loss was 176 trillion rupees to the country. When this came up all over the newspapers, people started wondering, what is this happening? Who is responsible for this? The responsibility varied across the country. The debate over the responsibility kept changing. Some people said, no, it's as per the government's policy, there's nothing irregular in that. And some people went on to say that, no, it's the minister's responsibility, it's the prime minister's responsibility. There was a huge debate which was generated in the country saying, where is this loss? And the most important issue of this loss is, they used a very simple method. Imagine something in a country like India, where inflation is very high and you get the interest rates very high. Something you are able to buy in 2008 at prices of 2001. And that's what the ministry did in this case. They went ahead and issued the licenses using the assessed revenues to be received, the prices of 2001 in 2008, which means it's a bonanza to all the private operators. Obviously lost to the government. Government would have done much better with this had they gone through a competitive process. When this opened up, there was a huge debate. The debate came up to finally identifying one gentleman down there. His name is Raja. Raja is the telecom minister at that point of time, and the debate in the country was around his role and responsibility on this. So they said, like, Raja in Indian languages means kings. King, he's a king. And newspapers reported saying, wow, here is a minister who behaved like a king in making use of government resources for himself. So there was huge amount of criticism. It didn't stop there. Newspapers started even pointing out to the Prime Minister, saying that why didn't the Prime Minister act on this? This is popularly known as the 2G spectrum allocation related irregularity in India, which created a debate on what is the role of audit. Did audit do its job well? It didn't really stop here. It went on to another 2 audits like this with even bigger amounts reported, and everywhere in the newspapers, the government's credibility was at very low, and the government was at an enormous amount of pressure to defend itself. Now, when we had this situation, the government's response was the minister was arrested, A whole of the team was arrested. Country was looking forward to what's happening. A new minister took power. The new minister quickly went into damage control exercise. Everyone in India started talking about, is this 176 trillion rupees true? Is this 28 billion US dollar true? People said, no, 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 it's 10 by mistake extra. People had all kinds of arguments. So the amounts were said, no, it should have been less. Some said it should have been more. So everyone had their own theory or policy on what should be this amount. The reason being, the Auditor General's report was not talking of actual loss. It was talking of an estimated loss based on calculations. And being an estimation, I work for the World Bank. You know the World Bank's and the IMF's estimations. Sometimes they go right, sometimes they go wrong. When they go wrong, we say, no, the external factors have changed, so the estimates have obviously gone wrong. Now, when you have estimates in place, you have challenges. And eventually, the new telecom minister who came in, he said, no, this loss, there is no loss at all to the government, the zero loss theory. So they said, the country didn't lose any money. This is all imagination of the auditors. This is all fertile mind of the auditors visualizing things and coming up with fancy numbers to basically sensationalism. So the claim of the minister was that the government is trying to sensationalize, the Auditor General is trying to sensationalize issues beyond what is required. Now, when the zero loss theory came up, people were confused. Government says there is no loss. Auditor General says there is loss. Now, whom do you want to believe? There is an Auditor General's report. Can we believe that? The government says, no, we don't want to believe this report. Parliament is still to discuss this. There's all kinds of issues. But media has no time for taking anything to a logical conclusion. Media went on with its own stories. There were camps which projected stories in favor of government. There were camps in the media which projected stories against the government. It was free for all. And this created a scenario where a huge amount of public outcry came up. The people were unhappy with the governance challenges the country was facing, the corruption and all. And audit reports gave a good storyline for development of a kind of a resistance movement against corruption. This gentleman, how many of you know Mahatma Gandhi? Heard of Mahatma Gandhi? Yes? So this gentleman claims himself, suddenly came up from nowhere and said he is the new Mahatma Gandhi for the new generation. He said he is very clean, he went ahead and ran this agitation, people came on streets. There was all kinds of debates going on in the media, on the television. At the end of it, what was the result? The result was, though not directly attributable, eventually the government was under serious pressure. And you found when the elections came, the government was voted out of power. People probably believe what is coming out in the media, not just from the audit, from various other sources. And generally the credibility of government was under pressure. This brings us to a debate when this is going to happen, when we have the credibility of government being questioned through sources like an audit report. Now, how do we really put the responsibility on the auditors? This gentleman is the auditor, was the Auditor General of India at that point of time, Mr. Vinod Rai, who was my ex-boss. So he, at that point of time, he was figuring on the cover stories of every newspapers, every magazine. So he was a person, a crusader, treated as a crusader against corruption and maladministration. All looks good, but the question is, do we have processes in place to really believe in the audit reports? Are the audit reports really correct? Can audit reports go to a stage where numbers are assumed and you go ahead and issuing it in a report in the public and open up a debate which puts pressure on the government, and the government says, no, these numbers are not really credible. Now, with this was called in India by some people as audit activism. Why is it activism? It all started with judiciary playing a role which properly is not the role which originally was envisaged as judiciary. So the executive, the government and the parliament, people started feeling are not delivering. So the judiciary came up. For example, Taj Mahal, one of the wonders of the world. When that is the Taj Mahal as due to pollution is getting decolored. People felt government is not acting to save Taj Mahal. Court came up and started saying Taj Mahal, saying these are the things you need to do. Those are executive responsibilities. So some of the executive responsibilities started being coming out of court's directives. That is known as judicial activism, which then translated when Mr. Vinod Rai went on with these reports, they started this as audit activism. Audit is going and taking decisions and talking about what government should do, what should not do. So there was debate all around on audit activism. So can we live with audit activism is the question that we are discussing, and from the bank side we try to work around to see when you do a performance audit, go into subjective areas of judgment questioning government's actions. So now to what extent the auditor can go and where we should stop. Is there a line which the auditor should not cross? That's what we are studying in the World Bank to look at the global experiences. My second example on this is with Oman. Again, similar example. In Oman we had again a performance audit. Oman is a sultanate. Some of you may be wondering, can a sultanate with His Majesty as the big boss have an independent audit? Yes, still it has, though the independence is with reference to His Majesty who represents the people. The Auditor General of Oman, the state audit institution, conducted audits which again created a kind of a huge sensation and started making subjective assessments, which even ended up in the court where one of the big Omani CEOs was imprisoned. He was actually sentenced to 23 years in jail based on basically some work done primarily by audit. So audit is becoming very, very significant in various jurisdictions. If you Google audit reports, what do you think audit reports in the media are reported as? There is a standard trend. What would be the trend? Auditor General blasts, Auditor General criticizes, Auditor General exposes. And recently the Zambian news report I can indicate here. So daylight robbery brought out by Auditor General. Does an Auditor General exist to bring out daylight robbery? Obviously not. But it's more a symbolism to say these are the kinds of issues which the Auditors General these days have been, reports are being projected in the media. When this comes into media, it puts a lot of pressure on the government. Government goes on the defensive. Now, is it appropriate? There is a need for transparency. The audit reports need to be in public. At the same time, audit reports should not end up to a situation where audit becomes a hindrance to decision making. This is the debate around audit activism that we are trying to look at. Now, let me take you to the next area of discussion, specifically into what are the issues when an audit report becomes so important in the public media being discussed. Before that, can I request you to go for a polling question? So let's take few polling questions to set the tone for the discussion, and then we go to look at the issues and what we are doing from the World Bank to bring it to a conclusion. So, first question, just to set tone, how many of us are audit people and how many of us are actually the executives? So if you are part of audit, oversight, even internal audit or anti-corruption, any kind of an oversight agency, you can say yes, otherwise you are no. So I think we have a sizable number of audit colleagues here, isn't it? Let's see how it works. Okay, We are quite strongly related to audit, accountability and governance. Good. Let's go to the next question. Okay, in your country, can you tell me from this polling, there are no right answers, in your opinion, whom does the people believe in? Do they believe in more the politicians? Do they believe in the bureaucrats, technocrats? Do they believe more in the judiciary, oversight institutions? Is it the media? Is it the non-governmental organizations? The general belief is towards whom? Whom do you think people believe more? So do you think, if it is the politicians, that's the best case scenario because if the politicians have believed it sets tone for the rest of the activities. But what do you think is the way it works in your own countries? Let's look at the results. Okay, this is very interesting. Okay, we have lots of people generally believing the non-governmental organizations and the oversight organizations, and the civil society organizations. Media, yes. Do you think media, you can believe in media? Yes, again, depending on jurisdictions, but we all believe in media, that we need an independent media to that extent. Yes. Politicians, 3%, that's interesting. And this is very interesting. Bureaucrats, I know, I'm a former civil servant, so all of us have something to look back to. If bureaucrats are not really looked upon as people whom they can depend upon. That's good. So judiciary's credibility is high, civil society organizations high. The next question. This is a debate which came up strongly in India. They said, like, if you put a damning audit report, a very strong audit report in public fora, it affects the credibility of the country, the business worthiness of the country. People lose confidence in the country. So these reports should not be published. What do you think? Yes or no? Okay, good. We are having lots of responses. Okay, that's good. So it's evenly balanced. So it's very good to know because that's something which is quite closely related to audit activism. A kind of, if there's a sensational report, it's going to affect. But at the same time, I see the yes is also 48%, which actually means that transparency is important. If it is bad news, people should know that there is bad news, notwithstanding what impact it has. Debatable. True, I agree. Next. So this is something which again came up strongly against audit activism, saying if audit comes out and makes strong recommendations, strong observations against the government loses confidence. It is demoralized. The bureaucracy is demoralized and it leads to policy paralysis. Decisions are not taken. So, do you think so? Can audit lead to bureaucracy getting demoralized? Is it true or not? So, audit is an